Is the 7th generation Ford Mustang going to be the last great American collectible car? I kind of think it is, and today I wanted to talk about it with you. So welcome back to All Cars, y'all. I am John, and let me tell you a story about where this actually came from. My wife and I were driving to Lowe's, and she was enduring me droning on about cars again. Specifically, we were talking about EVs and the new tax credits that are coming out, whether a Bolt made sense for us next. And she waffles between, yes, an EV is a good idea, it would be perfect for us around town, and no, it's not quite ready for us now. And when we got there, I got out of the car and I made a kind of a offhand throwaway comment of, well, if I had the money and the land and to build our perfect house with my perfect garage with 4 or 5 bays in the backyard, there's a car I would buy as an investment and stick it in there and hold on to it. And of course my wife looked at me and said,
"But a car is not an investment. It's a depreciating asset."
Well, that's true. I said, yeah, but it would be the next generation Ford Mustang. I think it's going to be the last gas-powered one. And she looked at me and said,
Huh, you're right.
And so what we know about the next generation Mustang, it's supposed to come out in 2023 as a 2024 model. What we've heard is it's based on the same platform as the current 6th generation, but they have leaked out a little bit of information to say that it is going to have a V8, also apparently a couple of turbocharged 4 options, and that they are looking at electrification, that the manual transmission is going to be going away. Ford has filed a patent that has actually shown a V8 with 2 hybrid motors next to it, so there's a possibility, at least there's some thought, that the next generation Mustang might have an option with a hybridized system that actually has motors at the front wheels, making it the first all-wheel drive Mustang. But we know that it's moving to EVs. We know that the entire market is moving towards battery electric vehicles, and Ford has said that if it's going to be available initially, the 5-speed is going to be, or excuse me, the manual is going to be phased out over time. Well, if you kind of take all of this in aggregate, where the market is moving and manufacturers switching everything to battery electric, this spells the end of the V8 gas-powered Mustang. Now, I make the claim that this might be the last great American collectible because I don't always love the Mustang. It was one of my first true loves for cars. I wanted a candy apple red Mustang, and when I was of age and my parents were thinking about getting me a car, we actually went and looked at a Mustang too, but it was all torn up and they felt it would probably been abused, and so I ended up with a 76 Buick Regal. But I've always had a special place in my heart for Mustangs. While mostly I respect them, but I always thought they had ponderous handling and just a big heavy V8 and cheap interiors. I'd much rather have something like a Z car. But the new Mustang is really nice. Maybe not the best interior, but I really like it, and I like what Ford has been doing, and I like the retro styling of it. But what Ford and the Mustang has done over decades is more or less successfully captured the Americana of a moment. That 64.5 Mustang spawned something that people were waiting for. And specifically what got me thinking about this is the Fox body Mustangs of like the 80s. Now at the time they were somewhat heavy, somewhat ponderous, didn't handle that great. They were fun, they were powerful. But now they're becoming more of collector's items because people appreciate what they were at the time. And yes, I do think that the 5.0 Mustang of the 80s kind of captured the 80s. So if we're at a moment where the automotive industry is switching to battery electric vehicles, and the next generation Mustang might very well be that last generation with a V8 and a manual transmission, I believe in my heart that might be 20, 30, 40, 50 years down the road, that is going to be appreciated for what it represented in its moment of time. So yeah, if I had the money and the space for another car, put it up on a lift and drive it once in a while, but keep it, I do kind of think it would be an investment, and I do kind of think it would be appreciated in decades to come for what it represents, the end of an era. Let me know what you think below, guys. I appreciate you being here for this short video.